Fifth outing of the spring, and it's gone very well for John so far.
Well, here's John Neese's stats presented to you by Caesars Atlantic City. He's just had a fantastic spring. We showed you in the Open 13 wins last year, but I think even more importantly, his walks have gone down last season, 2.3 per 9 innings, and his strikeouts have stayed the same. So he's getting better as a pitcher.
190 innings last year. He'd like to get that over 200 this year. And I think the most important thing John has done the last two off seasons has get himself in better shape to allow him to go deeper and healthier into a year.
And we'll take a look at the Lexus Metropolitan defense. Tejada's been struggling at the plate, but you know he can pick it short. Valdez-Bean again leading off and getting a start at second base. Neuenhuis starting in center field, still in the mix.
Brandon Barnes will lead things off for the Astros, who lost 107 games last year, basically stripped all the major league talent off their roster and are rebuilding from scratch. And the Astros brought one starting player for the game today. Barnes is not one of those. Barnes had 98 at big league at bats last year for Houston, and he takes a call strike. There's your Hyundai Astros starting lineup. They do have their top three prospects here. Carlos Correa, who was the #1 pick in the draft last year, Jonathan Singleton, and George Springer. Those are the top three Houston minor leaguers, and they're all in the lineup for the Astros and their new manager Bo Porter tonight. Barnes, 26 years old. And he takes a call strike from Neese, 1-2.
Saw that he has 5 home runs. His last one off CC Sabathia when the Astros played the Yankees recently.
Had a good year in the minor leagues last year. Hit .321 with 12 home runs. Neese ahead 1-2, and he gets him swinging with the breaking ball. John Buck makes the toss, and that's the first out of the night. So Neese stands the first man to face him. And now here is Carlos Correa, who last June was the #1 overall pick in the draft out of the Puerto Rican Baseball Academy. There had been only one other Puerto Rican player selected in the first round of the draft before Carlos Correa. It was back in 1994. It was also by Houston. And he later played for the Mets. And his name is Ramon Castro, which I don't think too many people remember.
That's right.
But Correa certainly broke Castro's record and then some. Just 18 years old, played 50 games in rookie ball last year, and he bangs one up the middle, and he's got a base hit. They rave about Correa, about his bat speed, about the power that he'll have. The biggest problem he might have is he's 6'4", 200. He might grow out of shortstop.
Great speed down the line there. That base hit, so he's got all 5 tools.
1 out and 1 on. Now Trevor Crowe put in some time with the Indians a few years ago. Spent last year in AAA. 29 years old, out of University of Arizona, former Indians first-round pick. Crowe a switch hitter, and he takes ball 1. Of course, the Astros are making the move to the American League. After 51 years in the National League, they were the Mets co-expansionists back in 1962, and they have stripped down everything. They've got a new owner, they've got a new manager, they've got a new league, they've got new uniforms, they've got mostly new players, and they've got the lowest payroll in baseball.
What would you do? They lost 107, like you said. Why not try something different?
Well, the biggest improvement they've made is in the uniforms.
Yeah, you like these better?
Much better. It's the old orange and the navy.
Yeah, the color scheme has a bit of a throwback feel to it, to the old Astros uniforms, not the multicolored ones.
I think of Auburn when I think of these colors, right? The Auburn college team.
Very good, Ron. And, did not
except for that yellow there on the arms.
They got the multicolor on the sides. Yeah. Not quite the test pattern that they had back in the 80s.
Oh, the uniform was horrible. I don't know what to say about that uniform. Nolan Ryan wore it too. That was when he had Necro, Ryan, Don Sutton.
Well, I don't think the uniforms really reflect on the quality of the player.
No. I'll tell you what.
Although it can make you feel bad about yourself before the game starts, though.
You just have to not look in the mirror. Neese misses with a changeup 3-1. And that changeup is a pitch that Neese has worked on a lot this spring.
That's the most I've ever seen him throw it. I would say probably 75% of them have been very, very good. He's given up a couple home runs, though, on hanging changeup. So he's working on it. Still in play.
But nice to see that he has the confidence to throw it behind in the count. And, of course, that's the key to any changeup, right?
He has John Neese, when I watch him pitch, he still has a lot left to improve, and he's a very good pitcher right now. To me, that looked like a little cutter that he became a slider.
It's just like when David Wright came up and you're watching his progress. The same thing with Neese now. You sense a little more, you see a little more confidence on the mound.
Struck him out. The throw to second on a hop, skips by Valdespin and goes into center. And Correa will hold at second. So Crow is out on strikes. And Correa steals the bag. A little better throw might have had it.
Well, Buck almost drilled Neese. Neese gets down on one knee. Look at that. He just that almost got him. Check out Neese. Down. Well, not that close.
Boy, it was almost like Buck was surprised that Correa was running.
Well, there's the breakdown on Neese last year and his pitch selection, and you have to figure that 4% is going to get a little bit higher this year with what we've seen this spring.
Well, again, to my point is we're seeing his natural progression, Ron. Every year he's won more games. He's moved up the food chain in wins, and he's become more polished as a pitcher. I've always liked the way he pitches with men on base.
This is Brandon Laird, the younger brother of Gerald Laird, who will be the opening day catcher for the Braves this year, with Brian McCann out after shoulder surgery. And that cutter misses inside, a ball and a strike. Brandon Laird, former Yankees draft pick, played in AAA for the Yankees last year, hit .254.
Released and then picked up by the Astros. He's had a great spring, but doesn't look like he's going to go north with the team.
Their number one catcher is Jason Castro, one of the few holdovers for Houston, and the backup is not going to be Laird. So,
or maybe I should say west with the team, not north.
It's going to be different. They're going to play a lot of games in the Pacific time zone.
That's right.
Which is 2 time zones away from Houston, so that puts a little crimp in their fans' ability to watch their games. And a good curveball by Neese has him wailing, and it's 2-2.
Every hitter in this lineup so far has been chasing that curveball in the dirt.
By the way, the Mets have now announced their rotation behind Neese for the first week of the season. With Sean Markham a little bit iffy with a neck problem, they pushed him back, and Matt Harvey will start the second game of the year against San Diego Wednesday, and then Dylan G Thursday. 3-2 now to Laird. And then for the weekend series with the Marlins, the hope is Jeremy Hefner will be ready to pitch Friday. Hefner is going to throw this weekend to get himself ready after taking that shot off his elbow. And then Neese will come back on regular rest Saturday, and then Markham, they hope, will make his first start in the Sunday game against Miami. And Neese with his third strikeout of the inning fans Brandon Laird. So a good start for John in his final tune-up of the spring. Mets come to bat in the bottom of the first with no score. Nice night on the berm with the sunshine still streaming down. There's your Geico Mets starting lineup. Another start at second base for Jordany Valdespin. Daniel Murphy's hoping to play in the Grapefruit League game tomorrow for the Mets, his first of the spring. Kirk Neuenhuis getting another start at center field. His status seems to be changing as the Mets roll out their lineup against the veteran right-hander Edgar Gonzalez.
Well, the stats here on Edgar Gonzalez brought to you by Toyota. You can see he's had a really good spring training. He's not really fitting in their plans for the rotation. He's going to be hopefully one of the guys out of the bullpen.
Competing for the last spot in that Houston bullpen as Jordany Valdespin leads off. Valdespin having that fine spring, hitting at .322, and he takes a curveball for a strike. And we're very happy to be joined from the Mets dugout by yesterday's starting pitcher Jeremy Hefner. And Jeremy, when you left the game yesterday, we were not really optimistic about your chances of being back soon, but it looks as though you got fantastic news when you consider how scary that looked.
Right, now I got one ball flying at me.
That's right.
Yeah, very optimistic. I was really scared. You know, when it hit me, and you know what the results might be on the X-rays and stuff, but everything turned out all right. It's just a bruise, and be back throwing the ball in a few days. So.
And then the hope is that you'll be able to start the Friday game against the Marlins next week. So tell me what it's like when you're standing there on the mound and Carlos Beltran hits that ball. What's your thought process, and what's your physical process trying to avoid it?
Well. At all costs, get out of the way, and I didn't do a very good job of that. So the lesson learned is to try to get my glove up instead of my right arm.
Jeremy, how's this camp gone for you? I mean, we know the numbers. You've pitched just excellent the entire month of March, but you came in not knowing where you're going to pitch, if you're going to pitch, how much you were going to pitch. It must have felt great when they gave you the ball and then started some games.
Yeah, you know, I just try to come in and compete just like I did last year, just like I do every year, every spring, and try to make a ball club. And hopefully I can continue my good spring into the year and, you know, get a few wins and get some momentum going for us.
Is there anything in particular, any pitch in particular that you've been trying to tighten up this spring?
Yeah, definitely. I had a cutter last year, actually the last 2 years.
Cowgill drilled by the pitch, and the Mets have 2 on.
And, you know, I had the bad start against Philly in my third to last start, and then the last 2 starts of the season were really well against Pittsburgh and Miami. And we introduced the slider, trying to get a little more depth on my cutter. And, you know, I carried that over into this spring and got a few more strikeouts, and it's been a good pitch for me.
You know, you always have impeccable control. The last 2 starts, so your control was just a little off. Do you think that was just from working on some extra pitches and working on breaking balls sometimes behind in the count?
Yeah, definitely. Trying to get my slider work in probably affected my fastball command a little bit. But you can never be too good at your fastball command. So that's something that I'm always going to work on and always continue to refine.
Jeremy, you talked about tinkering and with the cutter. What were the adjustments you made in the grip, or did you change a grip, or are you more over the top?
Good scoring? Nope.
Valdespin holds at third. The bases are loaded.
Yeah, the problem with the cutter is it was a little flat, and especially to right-handed hitters, they could still get a barrel on the ball and drive it or hit it right over the infielder's head or whatever. So we changed the grip a little bit and trying to get a little more on top, get a little more depth, and make a few more swing and misses.
Jeremy, Ronnie asked about, you know, not knowing what your role is going to be when you come into camp. As a player who's trying to make it as a full-time major leaguer, how difficult is it to separate counting up the numbers and trying to figure out where you stand from the work that you have to do to get where you want to go?
Right. You know, it's pretty tough. Like I said earlier, I just try to go in and compete and make it a competition with the guys and try to give it my best, because at the end of the day, that's all I can give. And if it's not good enough and I have to go to AAA, then I can live with myself because I gave it my all. But fortunately, you know, I'll be heading to New York and try to help the ball club win this year.
It does not escape notice that when you're standing on the foul lines on Monday, the team on the other side will be the team that originally drafted you, the Padres. What's that going to feel like? Yeah,
I probably know 20 out of the 25 guys that are going to be on that team, so that's going to be pretty special for me. Unfortunately, I won't get to pitch against them, but you know, I'm looking forward to seeing those guys and compete and watching the guys compete against them.
Jeremy, thanks. Good luck, and I'm glad that things worked out a lot better than they looked when that ball first hit your elbow yesterday.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, Jeremy Hefner joining us from the Mets dugout. He's one of those guys who really root for you.
You really do, and I think that getting the X-ray was probably the scary part for him because he's 27 years old. He's got his first shot. He's going to pitch as long as there wasn't anything broken.
Marlon Byrd hits a double play ball. Martinez with the turn. They get the double play. Valdespin comes in to score, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead. So the Mets load him up on a couple of hits and a hit by pitch, and they get the run home on a double play.
Well, we'll take a look after that double play appropriately at the Astros defense presented by Coors Light. You can see all the errors they made last year. That is not going to get the job done. It's kind of tough looking at this lineup here. They've only brought one starter over this, so a lot of young players, and we got 2 outs, and of course they're playing very, very deep as second baseman in the outfield for Duda.
Duda's DHing today. Both teams opting to use the DH. In fact, when the original lineups were posted today was odd because the Mets posted a lineup with a DH, and the Astros, who are now an American League team, posted a lineup with the pitcher batting.
Well, I think the Houston must have assumed that the Mets were going to bat Jonathan Neese today.
I think the way this camp has gone for Met pitchers, you want to keep Neese out of harm's way, and I'm sure that that's why the decision was made not to put him up to bat today.
I'm still trying to get over that double play was started by an 18-year-old at shortstop. Right?
Yeah. Nice cut by Duda, by the way. That was a vicious rip.
By the way, Correa 18, 6'4". Mind you of A-Rod a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the 0-2 to Duda on the inside corner, and Gonzalez gets Lucas looking for the 3rd out. Mets scratch out a run and give Neese that run to work with as we go to the 2nd in Port St. Lucie. Second inning, 1-0 New York. Matt Dominguez will lead off for the Astros. He's the only player who projects as an opening day starter for Houston who is here today. Dominguez, the former Marlins prospect, having a good spring, and he takes ball 1. He'll be the opening day 3rd baseman for Houston. He's only 23. It feels like he's been around for so long.
It just seemed like the Marlins quit on him.
In the air to center field, and Neuenheitz drifts back. Not much wind tonight. What there is blowing in, and Neuenheitz has it for the 1st out.
Well, remember, he was going to make the ball club out of spring training that one year, and he broke his wrist or something happened in a game, and then went down to AAA and kind of had to dauber down, and then they traded him, I think, for Carlos Lee. He was in that trade.
I mean, you got a 23-year-old kid, and you're unloading him off early.
I've had a few.
Got in someone's doghouse.
I've had a few missteps.
Well, sometimes
down 95.
Sometimes it takes getting to that second or third ball club.
Yep.
You know, maybe at age 23 he's ready to blossom.
Yeah.
This is Jonathan Singleton, another one of the Astros' top prospects. Played in Double-A last year, hit 21 home runs, and he hits it sharply, but Valdespin flags it on a hop.
Nice cut.
So 2 up and 2 down.
Well, he didn't waste any time. That was a rip. Valdespin got to get a little loose there. Watch this. The ball's hit hard. A little bit of the mustard, and the kid's hustling down the line. You better get it over there.
2 out and nobody on. And here's George Springer, who hails from New Britain, Connecticut. Played at UConn, #1 draft pick by the Astros 2 years ago. And he is really the speed power combination that they think will be a big center fielder for them down the road.
Set all the records at UConn. Went to Avon's Old Farms High School. And I remember when I heard that, of course, everyone in the New York area would think of Brian Leach when I think of that. But the only person ever thrown no-hitter for the Milwaukee Brewers, Juan Nieves, went to that school. I remember that someone had gone there, and I figured it out finally.
Well, Springer last year in between A-ball and Double-A hit 24 home runs and stole 32 bases. And when Bo Porter talks about Springer, he drops the name Torrey Hunter.
Oh, wow.
That's the guy he compares him to. The speed to play center field and the power. I mean, how many speed power combination guys do you have playing center field? I mean, Carlos Beltran was the prototype for years.
Well, the guy last year has moved to left field, like Trout.
So Nice issues his first walk. Springer's aboard, and this is Jason Jaramillo, former Pirate, now 30 years old. Probably be in Triple-A with the Astros this year. Houston last year lost 107 games. And the way they have stripped themselves down, a lot of people are wondering, is it possible that they will challenge the Mets' 62 record of 120 losses?
I thought I read something earlier in the spring that if they lose over 107 games again, it'll be 3 years in a row, and that's never been done before.
Well, Mets.
It was done the first 3 years of the Mets.
Exactly.
In fact, the Mets lost 110 or more 3 years
since we brought up the early Mets. I'll give you an update on I'm playing the '63 Stratomatic Nationals. The Mets are horrible. They're 3-23. I'm trying to win for them.
This just in.
I'm managing my tail off for them. And they lose.
History is history. It's hard to change.
They're terrible.
About one good thing happened for the Mets in '63, and that is that Cleon Jones made his major league debut as a 19-year-old.
And Ron Hunt had a nice season.
He did.
He was the only
All-Star the next year.
They can't score runs. They can't hit, and they can't pitch. I got Tracy Stallard in the bullpen. My long man, he's getting hammered.
There's the trifecta for you right there.
That's Jack Fisher doing it for you.
Actually, Jack is not on the team. I think he started out somewhat. Jack is with the Giants early.
Okay. Roger Craig is there. 1-2 from Nice. Up the middle. Valdespin flashes over. Dive for a bag just in time.
Nice.
Might have been better off throwing that ball to first, but he was able to reverse field and get the force on Springer to end the inning. Won't get spiked. clear some space on their 40-man roster before opening day, and they just made a move to help facilitate that. They have sold Elvin Ramirez to the Angels for cash consideration, so I guess Elvin has left the building.
Yes, he has.
As John Buck leads off in the home second with the Mets up 1-0. The Mets, with that move, are now at 38 on their 40-man roster. Now, it would appear they're going to have at least 3 players added to the 40-man roster. Scott Atchison looks like he has the ball club made. Marlon Byrd certainly has the ball club made.
Yeah.
And LaTroy Hawkins. There might be more than that, depending on what other moves they might have to make. Omar Quintanilla would have to be added if he makes the team. Scott Rice would have to be added if he makes the team. One guy who they hope will be healthy so that no move needs to be made to replace him is David Wright. And David joins us from the dugout. David, how are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
Everybody wants to know the answer to the question. Will you be ready Monday?
I'm planning on it. I'm planning on it. You know, I've said all along I've been fairly optimistic after talking to the doctors and the trainers and everybody else that you know, this is something that hopefully I can recover from quickly. So you know, we're getting there. We're taking one step at a time, and it was a big hurdle yesterday getting in the game and getting some at bats.
Well, Captain, I'd call you Captain now. As far as your physically in shape, your legs, being able to get out there and play now. I know you missed a lot. You feel you got the stamina to go out there and get it going at 9 innings?
Yeah, actually, you know, that's one of the things that isn't really concerning me is the baseball stamina, I guess. You know, coming back from the WBC where I was playing 9 innings pretty regularly, you know, felt good. The legs felt good. The biggest thing for me now is making sure that this isn't something that's going to linger, you know, for longer than it should. And I think by taking it slow, by kind of easing yourself back into those baseball situations, I think is ideal. And the training staff has done a great job in kind of putting the reins on me a little bit.
I know at the end of the WBC, David, you know, the minor injury was stopped you from playing, but it seemed like you were having a blast there at the tournament.
It's a great tournament, and you know, I've said all along, I've been lucky enough to play in 2 of them now. You know, to represent your country is a tremendous honor, pretty special, and you know, something that I really, really, really enjoyed. And I think that the tournament is gaining steam, and as you can see by the crowds that we got, you know, this go around, it was fun to be a part of.
Well, it was unquestionable that the folks down in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, they eat the thing up, and I think it'll grow in the American consideration as well. Let me ask you this, David, now that you've had a chance to sit with it for 4 or 5 days, this idea of being captain and now having this role, what are your thoughts about what it really means and what it means to you?
Well, you talk to, I guess the easiest way to answer that is, you know, you talk to, you know, Keith, you talk to Johnny Franco. I had the opportunity to talk to Gary about what, you know, and they tell you how much it means to them until, you know, it actually happens. You don't realize, you know, what kind of honor it is to be, you know, amongst that group, and what kind of honor it is to lead, you know, the guys that we have here. I mean, it's a great bunch of guys, you know, guys that really, you know how to go about their business. The way we've prepared has been tremendous, and like I said, I'm really am thrilled and you know, somewhat speechless to you know, just how big of an honor that this is for me.
David, when you are the captain, and then usually the captains are the veterans in the team, and you know, good players, the young players coming up now, they look up to you. Do you feel any extra burden, like, you know, you've got to set the example, the shining example, by having a work ethic and being the consummate professional now that you have the 2 bars on your shoulder?
No, I mean, I think it's something that, you know, the way I look at it is, you know, I have this tremendous honor for a reason, and you know, I need to continue to go out there and do, you know, what got me to this point.
David, stick with us. We'll come back at the bottom of the inning and talk more about that. Thanks.
Will do.
1-0 Mets as we go to the 3rd. 1-0 New York. John Neese working what will probably be his final inning. He's on a pitch count of 45 or 50 tonight. Jose Martinez takes a strike, and David Wright is with us from the Mets dugout. David, Terry Collins said something tonight that I thought was really interesting. He was asked what he was happiest about with his team, and he said, what I'm happiest about is there's no woe is me attitude here, that everybody's concentrating on what you can do as opposed to who's not here and what you don't have. How much do you guys talk about that, if at all, in terms of keeping your focus in the right direction as players?
You know, I've said it before, and you know, there's guys obviously in different situations here, but everybody, no matter what situation you're in, it feels like you have something to prove, you know, as individuals, and we know collectively as a team. You know, also, you know, there have been a lot of guys here that have come from, you know, teams that, you know, maybe the outside expectations were low. You know, Calgill comes to mind. And, you know, just hearing him talk about, you know, what they had in Oakland and how they went about their business, you know, obviously is inspiring. But also, you know, we tasted it, you know, the first half of last year where the expectations were low. We came in, got off to a great start, played good baseball, and fell apart in the second half, quite frankly. But, you know, we know what we have here and what we're capable of doing. And, you know, I feel like, you know, that attitude is the type of attitude that we need to have, you know, to be successful and to win.
You know, David, I always think it's a unique perspective for a veteran player to watch a young pitcher like Jonathan Neese evolve, and he really has gotten better every single year. When you watch him pitch in difficult situations, what has he improved on, do you think, watching him the past 3 seasons?
Well, for me, you know, as crazy as it sounds, you know, playing in New York, I think he's one of the most, you know, underrated starting pitchers in the game. You know, I think that, you know, just his attitude, he has that attitude where, you know, he thinks he's better than you, quite frankly, you know, and I think that, you know, he doesn't expect to give up hits. And I think that's been part of the problem, you know, the last couple of years, is that he gives up a cheap hit and he kind of dwells on that rather than, you know, moving forward. And I think talking to him and seeing the way he's gone about his business this spring, he's kind of put that behind him where, you know, has the ability to kind of, you know, okay, forget about it and let's get the next hitter. But the way, I mean, you see how quickly he works, and you love playing defense behind that. He pumps strikes, and like I said, the confidence is just through the roof. And I'm not saying a cockiness, but a confidence, and that's a good thing to have for a starting pitcher.
David, we'll just want to change gears here. A second strikeout for Neese this inning. Let's talk about your defense. What do you up here in the booth? You had a year last year with the glove that was the best year we've ever seen you have. And quite frankly, I thought you got the shaft a little bit. I thought you should have been the Gold Glove third baseman. You got Tejada on your left side, on that left side of the infield. How is it playing with Ruben? Now you've both been together for a while. You're getting familiar with each other. And what did you do? What exactly turned it around for you at third base? You were outstanding.
Well, I watched Keith Hernandez highlights.
I know it.
I knew it. All winter, you know, just Keith Hernandez highlight film after highlight film.
Yeah, right.
You know, gave me the confidence to go into the season and play better defense. No, I think it's just... you know, Tuff has done a tremendous job in getting me to a point where, you know, I guess I didn't realize how important my pre-pitch setup was until, you know, he was watching video, and, you know, my setup all setting up sometimes a little late, a little early, you know, never really on time. And he got me to the point where I feel like my setup is such good timing now that my first step has become a lot quicker, and everything kind of works off of that first step and that setup. So I think Tuff deserves a lot of credit for that. And, you know, obviously Ruben's been tremendous to my left, so it helps me out a lot being able to, you know, kind of play, position myself with Ruben, how he positions. And as you know, positioning is half the battle also.
Well, David, thanks for taking the time with us, and we are crossing our fingers and hoping you're out there 1:10 Monday afternoon at Citi Field standing at third base.
I'm hoping also. Thanks, guys, for having me.
All right, thanks, David. He is, I'll tell you what, he's the consummate captain, isn't he?
He's a pro's pro. He's, you know, he just gets it.
2-2 on the way, and Neese strikes out the side. So if that's it for his outing, he certainly finishes with a flourish. 6 strikeouts in 3 innings for John Neese. 1-0 Mets in the third. Recap of today's Mets-Astros Grapefruit League matchup, plus up-to-the-minute news, opinion, and exclusive video straight from camp on Mets Blog, presented by Verizon, part of the SNY.TV blog network. Ruben Tejada leads off for the Mets in the home third inning. Mets up 1-0. Well, when we first convened here for spring training, game, February 23rd, the Mets had Kirk Neuenhuis hitting 1 and Ruben Tejada hitting 2. The way the spring has gone today, Neuenhuis is hitting 8 and Tejada is hitting 9. Neuenhuis is 2 for 27. Tejada is 4 for 43. So the question is, will Ruben be ready to go on opening day?
Well, I'll tell you, Ruben was ready that first day, wasn't he? In that first at bat?
He had a home run off Steven Strasburg, but nothing's gone right since.
Well, let's just hope he didn't waste him down here. The bell rings April 1st.
Well, you played for a lot of years, Keith. You know that you've had great springs and you've had some real bad springs.
I've never had a great spring.
Oh, you never
good
did?
Springs, but I've had a lot of mediocre springs.
Yeah.
Why waste it?
Well, I never swung a bat in the offseason. So, guys like Ronnie, and they used to throw BP, that live BP, and they used to chew me up.
You guys caught up, though, at some point.
We did, but not against you. We were always teammates. I never faced you. Nope. As an enemy. I'm glad we were never.
That's right.
Different uniform.
We could have done it when you were in Cleveland, but you were in the tub.
I would have hated to have to draw swords with you.
Broken back grounder out to Correa, and the 18-year-old throws out Tejada. 1 away.
We'll take a look at his glove here, and gets right in front. 2 hands. Nothing fancy. Very nice. There you go. You would like to see him get his glove down a little sooner. Picky, but I'm a perfectionist. 18-year-old kid right there.
They had a they had the speed gun on him once throwing from shortstop, and they recorded a 97-mile-an-hour throw. So Jose Reyes type of arm at shortstop.
It was Jordany Valdespino who had a base hit and scored the only run of this game in the first. Now, at this point, it's certainly clear that Valdespino is going to be on the ball club. What his role is going to be on the ball club, I think, at least initially, is going to be determined by the availability of Daniel Murphy. Now, if Murphy's not available to go opening day with a right-hand pitcher on the mound, Valdespino will almost certainly start at second base as he is today. But Murphy thinks he's going to be ready as Gonzalez gets off the mound and makes a terrible throw. Didn't get anything on that ball, and Valdespino has a bunt hit.
Ron, you take it.
Well, I think that Gonzalez felt like he was channeling Brooks Robinson there for a second. Didn't get anything on it. Tried to throw it kind of on the fly, and Valdespino too much speed. You know, Gary, you say an interesting thing. Valdespino could go into this season, April 1st, and he could either be playing every day or maybe not getting that back.
Well, the interesting thing is, up until yesterday, I think we all felt as though there was a chance Valdespino was going to be in a center field platoon with Colin Cowgill. Now we're hearing that Kirk Neuenhuis has a better chance to make the ball club than we thought. And the roster composition would be a little odd there. But it goes back to what we were talking about before, the number of players that the Mets have to get onto the 40-man roster. And what we're hearing is that Neuenhuis might make the team over Omar Quintanilla. Now, Quintanilla is not on the roster. And
so that presents a problem.
Right, so you'd have to get him on. But that would leave you really without a backup shortstop, and Valdespino would have to be the backup shortstop, which I don't think is exactly what the Mets had in mind when they started camp.
Well, you watched Valdespino play shortstop. I believe it was in Philadelphia, and he had a struggle with it. Maybe it was nerves. You never know, but still.
There are so many moving parts for the Mets just 5 days before opening day in terms of how the roster is going to be constructed, and this issue of getting non-roster players onto the roster is part of it. And as we mentioned last inning, the Mets cleared some room by selling Elvin Ramirez to the Angels, so now their 40-man rosters at 38. But they're also hoping that Sean Markham will be ready to go opening day because, or at least in the first time through the rotation, not have to be placed on the disabled list, because if he were, you might have to bring up Aaron Laffey, who also is not on the 40-man roster. So it gets complicated. But there are at least 3 players not on the 40 who are almost certain to be on the opening day roster. That's Marlon Byrd, Scott Atchison, and LaTroy Hawkins. And there's a chance for another one because that battle for the second left-hander is coming down to Robert Carson and Scott Rice. And Rice is not on the 40-man roster. So. And right now, in terms of performance, I think after Carson gave up those 2 home runs the other day against the Braves, Rice may have moved in front of him.
Well, when you look at both left-handers, I think when you look at Robert Carson, he has a future of a guy that could be a strikeout guy. But the thing about Scott Rice, he throws strikes and he keeps the ball down. So he's a guy that gets ground balls, keeps the ball in the ballpark.
And Ronnie, what a story it would be if Scott Rice made the roster. 14 years in the minor leagues.
Never had a shot, right? Never a sniff.
Imagine the tenterhooks that he's got to be sitting on right now, just waiting these 5 days.
Well, I think that is, you know, I was very, very fortunate that other than 1984, I never had to play that numbers game and go home at night and try to figure out, you know, what my chances were of making the ball club. And it happens every year, right? There's 3, 4, 5 guys that go home, and a lot of them to their families, and a lot of questions asked. Do you think you're going to make the team? How'd you do today? Did you get anybody out? Did you get a couple of hits? It's tender times.
It's interesting how ball 4 there to Calgill. I never, in the minor leagues, knew what options were. Not until you get to big league camp do you run.
That's right.
Well, you're going to get sent down with options. What are you talking about options? You get 3, Keith. As long as you have options, you're going down. If you're on the bubble.
It's learning. You don't learn. You don't know a lot about the business side of baseball until it starts to hit you in the face. And I remember my first big league camp, and I told the story before to you guys. You know, I was talking to Richie Allen, who was a coach for the Texas Rangers, and he said, "What do you expect in camp, son?" And I said, "Well, I want to get that 5th spot." He goes, "John Matlack's making $650. You're not making that spot. You got no chance of getting that spot." And you learn a little bit about the business of the game too.
And sometimes the truth hurts, but you'd rather not get the runaround, you know.
Yeah.
Ike Davis had a base hit his first time up. Bats here with 2 men on. And a check swing grounder down to Dominguez. He throws to the unoccupied second base, and then Martinez gets it out at first. I'm not sure why. Maybe because of the shift, but Martinez was not at the bat, and so they only get the 1 out.
Let's take another look at that one.
That's a 5-4-3 for an out.
He can get there. He can get there.
Wasn't taking an angle to get there.
I'll tell you what, Calgill really hustled in the second. He got there in a hurry.
It's almost like Martinez, to me, assumed that Dominguez was going to first base and kind of.
I've never seen that. I mean, that's just.
He stopped.
Yeah.
Never seen that. That's not a good play.
So the Mets wind up with runners at second and third. And Marlon Byrd, the batter. Byrd grounded into a double play his first time up. And it's looking as though Marlon is going to start the year as an everyday player in right field. Now, he's 35 years old, and he's had a great spring training, and you wonder how that's going to play for the long term. And the Mets, they'll have Mike Baxter on the roster, 2 platoon in that spot if they wanted to go that way. But I think right now, Terry Collins is inclined to run Byrd out there and hope he can continue what has been a very good hitting spring.
I'd honestly be very careful with that personally. You know, in April you have a lot of night games or the day games the next day. I think Baxter should see, solely from the fact of keeping him sharp also, I think he should see some time also.
I agree.
Well, the Mets in that first series now are going to face a right-hander in Edinson Volquez opening day, and then 2 lefties. That's a change for the Padres. Clayton Richard the second game, and now Eric Stoltz will go in the third game. Byrd drives one to deep right center field. Back goes Barnes deep in the gap. He won't get there and hops over the fence. A ground rule double will play 2, and the Mets have a 3-0 lead. Bird behind in the count and loads his 8th double of the spring to drive in a pair.
Well, the one thing we've seen from Bird all spring, he likes that ball belt high, down, out over the plate, and he naturally goes to right center field. He drives that ball to right center, right on it there beautifully, eyes on the ball. And he continues. I mean, he's won the job. He's earned it.
Lost in the shuffle is not turning the double play.
Cost Edgar Gonzalez 2 runs so far. Now Lucas Duda the batter. Duda went down looking his first time up.
Never seen an infielder do that before. Not on a force out, and that's your job.
But you're looking to make turn two, aren't you?
Yep,
and he was going in that direction hard, and then he slowed up.
Yeah. I've never seen it before. Not even in Little League.
Oh, you've seen it.
No, we were well instructed.
When's the last time you watched the Little League game?
And when's the last time they turned two in Little League, by the way?
Well, Bo Porter knows that his team has some things to clean up. Of course, most of the team that he's watching today are players who are not going to be on his team come opening day. Astros open the season against their new rivals, the Texas Rangers. It's going to be a hard life for the Astros in that American League West with as armed and dangerous as the Angels and the Rangers are, and as good as Oakland was last year. Gonzalez has all manner of jump, doesn't he?
He does.
He says, "I'm a true Mexican right-hander." That's his quote. He said, "I'll throw anything at any time."
And what they mean by that, a true Mexican, is that Mexican league is full of those junk ballers.
Yeah.
They got screwballs and knuckleballs and forkballs over there.
There's Doug Brocail, the Astros pitching coach. Do you know who their bullpen coach is?
Yes,
El Presidente.
Yes, Dennis Martinez.
Martinez is the bullpen coach for the Astros now.
You can't take a guy who pitched a perfect game and put him in the bullpen.
There he is.
There, Dennis.
El Presidente won 240 games in his career.
He's quite a pitcher.
Spectacular.
Talk about having a number of pitches. He had it all.
Well, he had the great hook. He had that electric hook.
He also wasn't afraid. A little mean time.
Well, he was catch you peeking too.
Yeah,
he was the best at it.
Well, if you weren't peeking, he wouldn't have caught you.
Gonzalez strikes out Judah for the second time. Marlon Bird extends the Mets lead. Drives a double in the gap. And the Mets are up 3-0 after 3. Well, John Neese goes back out there for a 4th inning. Terry Collins at 45 to 50 pitches before the game today, but now he's at 49 and still going. He's looked very sharp. 6 strikeouts over the first 3 against this very young Houston lineup. And Trevor Crowe skims 1 foul, and it's 0-2.
I thought it was interesting what David said about Jonathan early in his career would let a hit bother him for 2, 3, 4 hitters, and that's something that's seemed to have gone away. That is an important hurdle to get over. And I know Mel Stottlemyre made it real easy for us. He said, hey, I wanted to let you know that the other players are trying too. So once you get over that you're facing the best hitters.
Zach Lutz now playing 3rd base for the Mets. Justin Turner has come out. That's a little odd.
Really? You get a little bit of only 1 at bat?
And it makes you wonder whether something has befallen Justin. He had a sprained ankle earlier in the spring. There's Josh Lewin and Howie Rose making a rare appearance.
There he is.
Of course, Josh Lewin is the radio voice for the San Diego Chargers in the offseason.
I'm sure many of our viewers did not know that.
I listen.
Goes down looking. That's 4 straight strikeouts and 7 on the night for Neese. And of course, Howie has taken a break from his ice hockey duty.
That's right. Islanders,
who I hear are pretty close to a playoff.
Yes. Long time coming, right?
Might complicate Howie's April a little bit. Here's Brandon Laird, who struck out his first time up. And a sharp shot up the middle. And that's the 2nd hit of the night off John Neese. So Laird with a 1-out single. Sunday, from the type of camp Terry Collins runs to how some of the newest Mets get to know their teammates. It's a one-of-a-kind look at the players' daily routine in Port St. Lucie on Mets Insider, presented by W.B. Mason. Series premiere Sunday at 6, only on SNY.
See, we got our graphics back today. I like that we didn't have them yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting toward opening day. It's time to to sharpen things up.
Make sure everything's plugged in.
Get the graphics guy back on the 40-man roster.
You go, try it.
I'm getting all tuned up for that, being part of that pregame 1-hour show. Do the full hour.
Really?
2 half-hour pregame shows now. And we're gonna be a part of it.
So you're going to be contributing to the show that Chris and Bobby are going to be hosting. Of course, Kevin's always a big part of that pregame show. What? And you're saying that we're going to be part of that too?
They're going to have the little camera they have in our booth. I think they're going to be. We're going to have little comments from us.
Going to be peeking in.
Why don't we alternate, you and I? Want to do that?
Right. Well,
you get Monday, I'll do Tuesday.
Gary's more professional. I think he should do it.
We'll pass it on to Kevin at some point.
I think we can all share the wealth. There is wealth involved, right? Laird goes back to the bag. Well, we're always happy to be part of the team.
You know, it'll be brief. You know, but they're going to have us on the second segment, the second half hour, and it'll be just a quick spot, in and out.
Hits from the booth.
Yes.
I'm just thinking of different ways that they could utilize your talents, Keith.
I think they do it in Milwaukee. I think a little clinic every day with the youngsters.
I know that Keith has taken notice of that before as Matt Dominguez draws a walk, second for Neese. Bill Schroeder in Milwaukee, after every home game, is down in the field.
Oh, I saw it.
Doing a clinic.
That means I'd get home, and after a night game, I would get home at 1:30. No, I'm sorry.
Well, it's not like you're going home and you're going right to bed.
Well,
I mean,
I might have to have a toddy before I go to bed. There's Bobby.
Bobby Ojeda in the house.
Right next to Andy Martino, writes for the Daily News. Good young writer who follows the Mets.
Our inquisitor?
Yes.
Here's Jonathan Singleton, who takes a fastball for a strike.
I mentioned before Juan Nieves, who went to Avon Oaks Farm like George Springer. Catcher of that no-hitter, Bill Schroeder.
There you go.
Full circle.
I like this kid, the way he swings the bat. He's very aggressive. Singleton last year at Double-A hit .284 with 21 home runs.
He came from a different organization, didn't he?
No, Phillies. Yeah. He came in the Hunter Pence.
That's right.
He strove in 79 runs, 88 walks. That's impressive. But how do you walk 88 times and strike out 131 times?
Sounds like an Adam Dunn kind of a year.
Yep.
He certainly has looked aggressive swinging the bat in this game.
Yep.
Laird at second, Dominguez at first with 1 out. Neese up to 62 pitches now, so he's pushing a little further than expected. What did you like to do in your last start of the spring, Ronnie? Did you like to go long the way Wainwright did for the Cardinals yesterday, or shorter the way the Mets usually have their start?
I want to get at least 18 outs. You know, you want to be out there for 6+ innings because, you know, that's what you're going to be asked to do in your first start. The start that always I was afraid of is the start before your last start. For whatever reason, you always seem to get your lunch in those starts. I don't know whether you're looking forward to starting the first series or what, but that one was always you'd have the nice ERA and then the not so nice ERA after that outing.
Tejada catching the pop-up on the infield fly. Time for the Toyota tweet of the game. Well, Jay Horwitz has gotten a lot of attention for his tweets this spring. Says the last time he wore his '86 World Series ring was at a high school reunion, and the ring had to be sawed off because his finger had gotten too fat. Now,
is this all true?
Well, Jay, I'll tell you what, Jay has been very entertaining this spring with his tweets. I don't know if he's running out of material, but so far, you know, with 30 years of experience behind him and stories to tell, he has not hesitated to tell them.
See, the problem is that he has started this train of tweeting, and let's just say that the pictures alone from the plane rides are going to.
You can't do that.
You cannot allow them.
No, that's not going to happen. Has he told the one yet about the time the German Shepherd bit him in Pittsburgh? And Neese just misses. 2 balls and a strike to Springer, who walked his first time up. By the way, speaking of Wainwright, who we saw yesterday, he and the Cardinals have apparently agreed on that 5-year contract extension. $97.5 million for 5 years.
Wow.
Which will kick in his age 32 season.
This kid swings the bat, boy.
Over goes Bird to grab it, and that retires the side. So Neese wraps up 4 shutout innings. Sunset at the beach as spring training coming to a close. Young Mets farmhand Reiner Cruz will take over the pitching for the Astros as we go to the bottom of the fourth.
Well, he's another guy slotted for that bullpen. He's had a real good spring. Dominates the right-handed hitters.
He's got decent stuff. We've seen him pitch for the Astros against the Mets. The Astros always seem to give the Mets trouble, particularly down in Houston.
Last year the Mets got swept when they went to Houston.
Yep, and always murder on them, and he's always pitched well against the Mets.
He's had a problem with walks, 29 walks in 55 innings last year, but they plucked him out of the Mets system as a Rule 5 pick, kept him all year last year, and he'll be a big part of their bullpen. Jose Veras is the closer for the Astros this year, the former Yankee.
Yankee, right?
John Buck leads things off, former Marlin as well. Veras would have pitched to John Buck in Miami, and Buck smacks one back up the middle for a leadoff hit.
Well, Keith, the one thing I've noticed about John Buck is he's ready to hit a fastball. It doesn't matter what the count is.
He's a dead red hitter, as we would call it.
Now Zach Lutz, who took over at third base for Justin Turner. Again, strange that Turner left the game at that point because, first of all, he played only 3 innings. Second of all, he hadn't just had an at-bat, which is unusual in these games. So, trying to find out if there's anything up with Justin.
Maybe someone can tweet Jay Horowitz.
Well, maybe Jay can tweet us. We'd have to be looking for the tweet. Lutz had a double in the game yesterday. I think, is he tweeting us right now?
Jay?
He can't hear you. That would be a different technology.
How many years has Jay been in your organization?
I think he came in 1980.
80 with Frank, right? Frank Cashin came in 80.
So Jay always is embarrassed. He tells me when I got traded to the Mets in the June 15th and I joined the team in Montreal, they sent Jay with a limo to get me at Maribel.
Yeah.
The airport's far away.
That's right.
Not Dorval. And Jay couldn't find me. And I'm there in baggage claim getting my bags, and Jay couldn't find me. I took a cab in. I had no idea the Mets sent someone for me. I just knew where I had to go.
He didn't know you.
So Jay's looking for me.
By the way,
Lutz takes one the other way. Buck will stop at second. And the Mets have back-to-back hits to start the fourth.
Kind of makes total sense.
My question is, how long did he look for you before he gave up?
That's a good question to maybe ask.
Because that was, of course, in the days before cell phones, so it's not like he could call you or you could call him.
And I hadn't. They told me that Jay was going to be there, but you know,
did you know Jay?
I saw Jay around, but I never connected.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm surprised the story didn't end up with Jay bringing someone else other than you back in a bag.
So I found my way to Stade Olympique.
Oh, you went right to the ballpark, huh?
I think so, yeah. I got there as late as possible.
Nothing new. Here's New and Ice taking a fastball for a strike.
Well, I'll never forget. I know I told the story before. Dave Kingman was the first man to come and had a big smile on his face. And Dave never said a word, boo.
Yeah.
And he had a big smile on his face. And he shook my hand and said, "I'm so glad you're here. You're my ticket out of here."
now that's team spirit right there.
I'm going, where am I? What's going on?
That's early '80s team spirit right there.
How'd you do that first game as a Met? Do you remember?
I got one hit, I believe. I was nervous, to be honest with you.
So it's the 83. The Expos were pretty good then. So
Carter was there, and Andre Dawson.
Decent crowd in Montreal for that game.
I hated playing in that ballpark, and we had already
Olympic. Oh, it was terrible.
Plus they had pretty good pitching, and we had the Cardinals that year. We'd already been twice to Montreal, and the Mets only once. So I went 4 times to Montreal that year.
It's a nice city after the game.
Yes. Most definitely.
2-1 to do it nice.
Winston Churchill's. Oh, my my God, we're breaking out the Cholula.
Our first Cholula of the season belongs to Reiner Cruz. And Neuenhuis lines one to third. No play at second, but they double Lutz off first. Dominguez was all ready to go to second, but Buck wasn't far enough away to make that throw. But Lutz gets doubled off first. Otherwise, it might have been a triple play.
Well, I tell you what, the shining part about this play is that Neuenhuis, who's been struggling, hit a bullet.
Dominguez figured he tried second once. He'd go back to first base here for the double play.
So 2 out. Buck still at second. Now here's Ruben Tejada, who grounded out to short his first time up. Well, we talked about Scott Rice and his opportunity after 14 years in the minor leagues to potentially make the opening day roster. He's getting ready in the bullpen right now for the Mets, and this is obviously going to be an enormous outing for Rice, who's competing with Robert Carson for that job as the second lefty, along with Josh Edgin. By the way, speaking of Edgin, congratulations to Josh and his wife, who are the proud parents of Turner DeWitt Edgin, who was born last night.
I was thinking, and I'm probably way off base with this, probably family name. He made his big league appearance where?
First appearance, Turner Field. Or maybe it's a tribute to his teammate.
I don't think so, but you know, maybe.
Red didn't get the call. I think we're probably both wrong.
I agree. Also, we haven't said it yet, have we? Birthday wishes to Matt Harvey today.
Right, Matt's 24 today.
That's right.
Matt has now been put in pen for the second game of the year. That's not in the pen, but
yeah,
as opposed to put in pencil, it's been inked in. They'll get the Wednesday start against the Padres. First night game of the year. Broken back grounder down to Dominguez. And he throws out Tejada. So the line drive double play helps out Reiner Cruz and keeps the Mets off the board. 3-0 New York after 4. Monday, John Neese makes the first opening day start of his career as the Mets begin the 2013 season against the Padres at Citi Field. Mets-Padres coverage begins Monday at 11:30 a.m. That's an extended pregame show, only on SNY. I mean, we've got the half-hour pregame show and the half-hour before, but Monday, it's opening day, we add an extra half hour. That one's drilled deep but foul off the bat of Jason Jaramillo for a long first strike.
I've heard of breakfast at Wimbledon, but I don't know what we're going to call this one.
Scott Rice is in the game to pitch for the Mets. Excuse me, John Neese is still in there.
Yeah.
We expected to see John's outing end a couple of innings ago, but he's at 67 pitches and counting. 68 after that one. Now, how does this work exactly? If the game plan was before the game to give him 45 to 50 pitches, is this Neese saying, I want to go longer?
I think, honestly, it's a Terry probably had in his mind what he was going to have John throw. And then as they got close to the game, maybe Dan and John both told him, you know what, he would really like to have, you know, at least 5 innings in the book. So, and he's been throwing so free and easy that it's pretty easy to allow him to keep going. I just don't like the jump, Gary, from 45 pitches to 95. You know, I mean, that's, or 105, whatever you're going to throw in your first outing.
I always thought coming up that the pitchers just kept stretching it out each start longer and longer and longer. I saw Gibson throw. Gibson, that it was Gibson, Rick Wise. It was all veterans. Reggie Cleveland.
Yep.
They their last start would go until they had a good outing. They throw 7, 8 innings.
Tejada showing good range to his left. Throws out Jaramillo for the first time. Let's check out the probable starters for opening day Monday, brought to you by Citi. Edison Volquez getting his 3rd consecutive opening day start, 1 for Cincinnati, and now his 2nd straight for San Diego. And for John, his 1st ever opening day start. And that's going to be all for Neese after he gets the leadoff hitter in the 5th inning. His final outing of the spring ends after 4 1/3 terrific innings. He allowed no runs and 2 hits, a couple of walks, and 7 strikeouts. The perfect tune-up for Neese. Called the bullpen, brought to you by Verizon. And Scott Rice will try to continue his audition for a spot in the Mets bullpen when we come back to tradition.
Morning, Brian.
Year-old Scott Rice, 14 years in the minor leagues, never a day in the big leagues, and he's got a shot. We'll say Martinez takes inside for ball 1.
I think if you were looking at a lineup to face in one of your last starts, this would be a real good one to face. A lot of young hitters, a lot of free swingers. And he's got that good sinking fastball.
Scott was in the Dodger organization last year, his 5th organization. The Mets are his 6th.
Yeah,
that is just gorgeous.
Looks radioactive.
3 Mile Island, or
beautiful shot.
Scott Rice, in addition to being in 5 different major league organizations, has also pitched for 3 different independent teams, including the Long Island Ducks, the Newark Bears, and most recently in York, Pennsylvania in 2011.
So our friend Buddy Harrelson is watching with Ernest here, right?
York, Pennsylvania, just outside of Gettysburg, just east.
Big chopper to Valdespin at second, and that's the second out of the inning. Scott grew up in Simi Valley, California. You know that area well.
I think Simi.
No, Simi's south.
Isn't it right?
Yeah, it's like near Westlake. It's probably northwest of LA, 45 minutes.
Here's Brandon Barnes with 2 out and nobody on. Barnes struck out twice against Nice, who fanned 7 in his 4 1/3 innings. Well, it's officially dropped below 60 degrees.
It's not as cold as it was yesterday.
It will be by the time the game's over. It's kind of it's an oxymoron to say this because you're getting ready for cold weather, but it's kind of a warm up for what's to come over the next few weeks.
Yes. What did they say? The projected temperatures, weather opening day?
It should be okay opening day. It'll probably be in the 50s.
Good.
But then you've got night game Wednesday. It'll probably be down in the 30s by the end of that one. But what I'm thinking about is that first road trip when we go to Minnesota and Colorado.
Well, Philadelphia, too.
Oh,
I mean, Philly's New York.
It's a taste. 3 night games there, but a weekend in Minnesota and then 3 days in Colorado in the middle of April.
Well, here, that's why they pay us the big bucks.
Is that why?
Well, I do know because I've done games there, Gary and Keith, that in Minnesota you'll love the booth and they have heat in the booth.
Oh, good.
So,
well, here's what I'm thinking, and I'm not meaning to jinx things, but here's what I'm thinking. Target Field is the one current big league ballpark I haven't been to, and I'm very much looking forward to going there. And you know how much I hate the cold weather. So what I'm thinking might happen is we'll have 2 really frigid games there, but one will get snowed out. So we'll have to make a return trip there in the middle of the season when the weather's nice.
That's right. That's a good chance at that, by the way.
You got to cut with a negative wave.
I didn't think of that as a negative, really. I was just hoping for a more pleasant day in Minneapolis. It's a beautiful city.
A pleasant day is going to be coupled with an in-and-out flight also.
A 2-out walk to Brandon Barnes, and now here's the 18-year-old shortstop, Carlos Correa, who has singled and stole a base and struck out. That is just spectacular.
Sure is.
That's why Bill Webb's won all those Emmys.
He knows when to get off the game. This is the first time I've watched Scott Rice pitch a little nervous. You know, he's kind of guiding it in there, and rightfully so, maybe.
But he's got a little unorthodox delivery. He's got a funky motion, funky delivery.
Tell you what, you watch these 3 youngsters that the Astros have brought along today, Correa and Singleton and Springer, their top 3 prospects. This is an organization that's broken down and started from scratch, but you look at the young players they have here today, they're very impressive.
Yes. You just hope that they can hang on to them, too, you know, and not become another organization like Montreal, who just had all the great farm system and just kept developing the young talent, get to the big leagues, and they get rid of them.
Rice picks off Barnes, and the throw by Davis right on the money for the 1-3-4 caught stealing that ends the inning. So Rice showing a good pickoff move. Barnes running on first movement, and Rice gets a couple of outs. Halfway through. Veteran right-hander Jose Veras, who will be the Astros closer this year, comes on to pitch in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, Veras has a very good arm, good changeup, good slider. His only problem, sometimes this is control. He had that one fantastic year for the Yankees a few seasons ago.
This will be his 6th team in the last 6 years. He went Yankees, Indians, Marlins, Pirates. Last year with the Brewers, he was in 72 games. And now in Houston.
He's one of those guys that has a great arm, rubber arm, loves to throw his slider, and wants to strike everybody out. And he tends to get wild.
We'll say Jordany Valdespin is 2 for 2 today, and he takes a strike. Valdespin singled to right and then laid down a bunt hit in the 3rd. He scored 2 of the 3 Met runs.
And they got to play Jordy. You can see the outfield a little bit shaded to the opposite field, but third base in to protect against the drag bunt. He's already got a drag bunt base hit today. 2 for 2.
Chasing that off-speed pitch, and it's 0-2.
I think that's his 3rd bunt base hit in spring training, which is very impressive. Changeup, I guess, there, right?
Yes, the old turnover. Screwball change. Don Sutton had a great turnover changeup. Ronnie.
Yeah.
A screwball turnover change.
Straight over the top, right?
Oh, right through his legs.
That ball went right between his legs.
How do you do it?
Well, it's the second time. Well, just no contact this time.
Justin Verlander hit him.
Look at that. That's it's a wicked googly.
When Verlander hit Valdespin, it subsequently was revealed that Jordany was neglecting a particular piece of equipment. Said he would wear a cup regularly, but then hedged, and we have no idea. Only Jordany knows for sure. But you'd hate for him to get hit again, and now Veras comes with the fastball and gets him looking. A little backwards pitching there by Veras.
Nope. He meant to get it away. He got it in. Good pitch. All that junk, and then he popped them inside. Tip your hat.
Now Colin Cowgill, and you talk about bunting for hits, something the Mets would like to see more from Cowgill. Cowgill's an interesting guy because he's a little guy who has some pop, fancies himself as a middle of order guy, but at the big league level probably has a better chance as a top of the order first or second hitter, hitting second today. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Think he has as much pop as Scott Hairston?
No,
I don't think so either.
But you think of Hairston's best tool as his power.
Yeah.
Cowgill's a guy who can play some defense, has some speed, can steal a base for you.
Where did Scott go again? Cubs?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Cowgill has had some time with Arizona and with Oakland. And he figures to be the right-handed part of the center field platoon when the year begins.
But this is his 3rd team, Cowgill.
So breaking balls, the downfall of Cowgill, back-to-back strikeouts for Veras, and they're 2 out.
Well, this is what he likes to do, strike you out with that pitch. He's got the good hard slider. It's not a strike, but a tough pitch to lay off.
Now Ike Davis with 2 out and nobody on. Ike single to right and then into that strange play. Mets had runners at first and second. He had a slow grounder to third. Dominguez trying for a double play through to second, but Martinez, the second baseman, was not covering second base. They, however, were able to throw Davis out at first. And they put the full shift on this time against Ike.
I don't know about you guys. You ever leave spring training and you pick a couple of guys out and say, boy, I really think they're going to have a monster year. That's how I feel, probably you guys too, about Ike. Don't you feel like he's just going to have a healthy big year? Well, coming off that second half.
He's in shape. He's running much better than he did last year. And of course he had that ankle injury and
Valley fever.
I was going to say jungle fever. Thanks, Ron.
I think Ike right now is right where he was at the beginning of the year 2 seasons ago. He had just had his first taste of the big leagues in 2010, had done well, and came out of spring training flying in 2011. Got off to a great start those first 5 weeks before he got hurt in Colorado, and it ended his season. And really, it's taken him almost 2 years to get back to that spot. And here he is, looking good, laying off pitches he can't hit.
Yep.
Back to being the premier fielding first baseman we expect him to be.
Well, what's been impressive about Ike is since he spread his stance, which he did in Arizona, that's where he started doing it. What he's done in spring training here that I've seen is the pitchers think it's the same old Ike. He can throw him that curveball in the dirt, swing at it. He's been taking it with good balance. He's come with a purpose and an intent. He swung the bat great from the get-go. He's had a really, really, really good spring and getting an awful lot of playing time. I mean, he's been the iron horse out there in spring.
Infield's over, Keith. Look at the center fielder and the left fielder.
Well, the other day, the left fielder played Ike when the Nationals, when Gio Gonzalez pitched against him. Ike hit a line drive right where the left fielder is right now.
Wow.
It's a very peculiar defense.
It's one to right center. He could get a triple. Ike doesn't get many triples.
Again, fouling off a pitcher's pitch with 2 strikes. Staying in the at-bat.
See the Florida faithful here bundled against the 59-degree chill.
Look at that defense, folks. At the outfield, Ronnie, very observant. Big gap in right center field. I mean, that is of odd defense.
And Veras strikes out the side in the bottom of the 5th inning. So a nice inning for Veras. We head for the 6th. Mets up 3-0.
At
Carlos Correa goes back to the plate to lead off the 6th inning. He was at bat when Brandon Barnes was thrown out to end the 5th. Scott Rice, who got a couple of outs in that fifth, stays on to start the sixth. And Correa takes a fastball for a strike.
Carlos Correa has said that if and when he reaches the major leagues, he'd like to wear number 12 for Roberto Alomar.
Hall of Famer from his native Puerto Rico. Correa was all set to go to the University of Miami on a baseball scholarship had the Astros not taken him so quickly in the draft. That's Xavier Cedeno in the Astros bullpen. Lefty who will be on their staff. "18 years old, 6'4", about 200 pounds. They figure by the time he fills out, he's going to be a big kid. You wonder whether shortstop is going to be his future.
Right. Get concerned that he gets too big. You got to move him to third base.
And Rice with a good changeup strikes out Correa for the first out.
Yes, sir. Good sinking change.
It was interesting last week. Well, actually, it was earlier this week. The Mets informed Pedro Feliciano that he would not be on the major league roster because they felt that he just didn't have the velocity, particularly in back-to-back days, to be that second lefty out of the bullpen. Pedro has opted to stay with the organization and go to the minor leagues, try and develop some better arm strength. But that very day, the Mets played up in Disney against the Braves. Robert Carson, who a lot of people were defaulting that second lefty's job to after his nice performance late last year, gave up 2 home runs, first 2 batters he faced. And all of a sudden, that enabled Scott Rice to climb back into this race.
Sometimes you pitch yourself back into the game. Sometimes someone else pitches you back into the game. And that maybe was the point there.
We've got a medical report on Justin Turner. We were wondering why he came out of the game. They're saying strained left calf.
That's not a good thing, right, Keith?
You know how I feel about calves.
Well, and you know, we've been talking throughout this day about moves the Mets might make and 40-man roster considerations. If Turner has to go on the DL and the Mets keep Omar Quintanilla or another non-roster player instead of Turner, that creates yet another logjam in filling that 40-man roster. And Crow goes down on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Scott Rice.
No. Trying to make a ball club. Working on a nice little inning and a third right now.
He's got some weapons there, Ron.
He does. He's got 3 pitches. He sinks the fastball and has enough on it. He's got that good changeup we saw him throw to Correa, and that is a good down slider. You know, starts down the middle and it hits the right-handed hitter in the shoe tops.
And of course, you know, you want left-handed specialists in your bullpen, but you also want your lefties to be able to get that right-hand hitter out.
You know, the crossover is what they call him now. But the other thing he has, guys, is he's so tall and he has a nice angle to the plate. He really gets on top of that ball and has that downward angle that makes it difficult to center.
He has that big shoulder lift too when he throws, almost like oh gosh, like our starter last year that just got released. There's Feliciano warming up.
Chris Young.
Chris Young. We had the big shoulder lift. It's hard to pick up as a hitter. He's tough to pick up.
The old Astro Jim DeShays also had a high.
I picked him up pretty good though. I don't know why. Don't ask me.
Tejada on the back end, plants and fires. 1-2-3 inning for Scott Rice. So he goes an inning and 2/3 without allowing a hit. Nice effort by Rice. 3-0 Mets in the 6th. The 2013 MLB All-Star Game is coming to Citi Field this July. Guarantee access to the 2013 All-Star Games and to ticket strips by becoming a Mets ticket plan holder today. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit Mets.com/All-Star now. Domingo Santana takes over in right field for the Astros, and on to pitch, left-hander Xavier Cedeno.
Well, short in stature, but Cedeno, you can see his spring has been good. He's going to be the specialty lefty for Bull Porter's Houston Astros.
With the second lefty in that bullpen with Wesley Wright, the ill-named left-hander.
That's right.
Marlon Byrd leads things off. Byrd has the biggest hit in this game, a two-run, two-out double in the third. Hit the ball to right center field. Cedeno was in 44 games for the Astros last year. Byrd takes ball one. Byrd, Duda, and Buck due up for the Mets in the sixth. Well, the Mets were hoping that they were getting healthier heading toward opening day. Daniel Murphy hopes to play in a major league exhibition game tomorrow. David Wright probably in a minor league exhibition game. By the way, a lot of people have asked, and if you're wondering why take your major league players and play them on the minor league side, the reason in the case of Murphy and Wright is if you're not certain that they're going to be ready for opening day, you want to leave yourself the option of backdating them on the disabled list, and once they play in a major league exhibition game, you can only backdate them to that point. If they only play in minor league games, then you can backdate them. I think it's 9 or 10 days into spring training, so they only miss the first 5 games of the season. So they don't want to risk that until they're certain that they're ready to go. And Murph appears to be a little bit ahead of Wright. Of course, Murphy first hurt that side muscle before the first exhibition game. This is 6 weeks ago.
Oh, the problem he had is he came back to play the infield and to run the bases, and he was sore the next day. And that set him back, a week or so. But he's been moving quickly the past 4 or 5 days. You get close to that opening day, somehow starts to feel a little better.
Well, when you retweak an injury and a pull, it takes a little bit longer.
Byrd hits one deep to left, way back and gone. A home run. To make sure it was fair, but he just hit the stuffing out of that ball. Marlon Byrd continues his terrific spring, a 2-run double, and now his first home run of the spring. And it's 4-0 New York. He's hit a bunch of balls to left field that, with the wind blowing in, have got knocked down. No wind tonight, and he crushed that.
Well, like I said earlier, with the 2-run double he hit earlier to right center field, it's something that he's done all spring, and he can turn on it too. And this time at bat, boy, oh boy, he crushed it.
Well, Marlon went down and played winter ball this past winter and hit 16 home runs. He's still got that kind of pop.
I think it was a combination of things. He went down there. He got his swing right. Was that a little covering? Well, he got a swing right, and also the team won the Caribbean World Series, so he got a good feeling from that too.
By the way, short hopped the tree out there. Took a little chunk out of it. Well, Marlon Byrd trying to resurrect his career and his reputation. It's hard when you get let go twice. You don't put up the numbers, and then you suffer the embarrassment of getting a 50-game suspension. And he owned up to it. He said you have to be an idiot to get caught, and I got caught. Duda hits one hard. That one trickles out of the glove of Singleton. Makes the recovery, and they get Duda at first base. Another bullet, and Singleton able to recover and make the play.
Well, nice recovery here, and from the offensive side, Duda always liked his approach against left-handers. He stays in, and he rips this one.
Nice job by Cedeno not to hesitate and get over there. So that's the first out. Now John Buck, who hit a hot shot to center for a base hit his last time up. Mets have 7 hits. The Astros have but 2. And Buck hits another one hard. And that's in the left field. And Buck has his second hit of the night. Well, Xavier Cedeno is not fooling anybody.
No, he's not. Bullets all over the place.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Zach Lutz up for the second time. Lutz took over for Turner at third base when Justin had to leave the game with what they're calling a strained left calf. Lutz single to right in his only at bat. Here's your Mets pocket schedule presented by Audi.
Just starting it up.
Mets have 3 more exhibition games. However, tonight is our last exhibition telecast.
Ronnie, you're heading up north tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I'm going in Friday. Garrett, when you leaving?
Tomorrow morning.
Excellent.
Leaving 57 to go to what? 47?
Something like that. See?
Oh, well.
We're getting adjusted.
I just want to get home in time to watch a flat screen for the first time in 6 weeks and watch the basketball.
A little basketball tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Well, we will reconvene at Citi Field on Monday.
It's a 1 o'clock start, that opening day?
Yeah, make sure you get there early.
I'll be there.
We're in the 11:37 block for the pregame.
Right.
Oh, I'll be there long before then. You know me.
We'll be outside, right? Near the old.
Oh, that's right. We got to do the open out there with the whole crew.
Let's see. Bobby, Chris. Anybody else going to be on that set with us?
Bobby V has got to be doing that show.
Is Bobby V going to be out there opening day?
We don't know.
Well, we know that he's going to be doing some work for us.
Yes.
But whether it'll be opening day or not, I'm told is not yet official.
Yeah.
You know, you have to go through channels to find that stuff out.
See, Andrew's going to be mad at me now because
You stole his thunder.
stole his thunder. We weren't able to announce it.
Well, Andrew's got to move a little quicker.
You can't get the sunrise by you.
We got the bully pulpit here.
2-2 to Lutz. And he drives one to deep left field. Back goes Crow, and it's over his head and up against the wall. Duda, Buck races to third. He'll be waved around. Here comes the relay throw, and it skips on by the catcher Jaramillo. And all the way to third goes Lutz. It's 4-0 New York. 4 batters, 4 bullets against Xavier Cedeno.
Well, Cedeno getting lunched here. This ball's a rocket. Nice throw to the cutoff, but a poor throw by the young shortstop here. You never want a short hop, and that's just rushing. You're a youth, you want to rush. Take your time, don't rush the throw. Give your catcher the long hop or on a fly.
They've charitably given Lutz an RBI, but an error on the shortstop allowing Lutz to get to third. Now the infield will come in for the Astros with Kirk Neuenhuis at the plate. This is where they're supposed to say, get the married man off the infield.
That's right. Wow.
Well, get the single guys off, too.
Oh, that's official. Everyone off. You got to have someone out there.
Neuenhuis lined into a double play his last time up. He's 0 for 2. You know, we were talking earlier about the increased possibility of Neuenhuis making the opening day roster, and you know, part of it has to do with those 40-man considerations, but the other thing is you look at who's going to be on this team opening day, and he's really the most legitimate defensive center fielder you have.
Yes. Yep. You know, I think that as far as spectacular catches, Den Decker might have him, but as far as steady play and closing speed, you know, Kirk Neuenhuis is a big man and runs as well as anyone I've seen that's his size.
Of course, Den Decker broke his wrist trying to make a catch the other day. He'll be in that cast for 6 weeks. So It's unfortunate because Matt needed to go to the minor leagues and have a good offensive beginning to his season, and now he's probably not going to play until close to June.
And his wrist is going to have to be, it's going to be atrophy a little bit, and you got to build it back up. It's not fun. It's very unfortunate that he was a victim of the wind that day. If you recall, it was very windy and swirly.
Nieuwenhuis trying to get the run in. 2-2 from Cedeno, and he lays off the breaking ball.
So that injury is probably a 2 to 3 month injury, I guess you're saying, right?
6 weeks in a cast, and then how long once you get out of the cast?
Well, you got to get the strength back in the wrist.
He did not need surgery. That was about the only good news. And Nieuwenhuis goes down on strikes. Of course, this was a big piece of Kirk's season last year. 282 at bats, 98 strikeouts.
Got him with a fastball in, not a strike.
You know, it's easier to say it up here, of course, but you know that's a case where somehow, some way, don't you have to put that in play?
You do.
Tough pitch, though. I mean,
Kirk against the left-handers hasn't learned to pick a zone on the plate, whether it's out or in, and he tries to cover the whole plate. And when you stand close to the plate, it makes it a little difficult. But that comes with experience. You got 2 strikes, you got to swing too. You know?
Yeah, right. And it's not accusatory. I'm just, you know, it's difficult, but you got to somehow put it in play.
Ruben Tejada 0 for 2, a couple of ground ball outs, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. Once he scored twice here in the 6th. Marlon Byrd a leadoff home run. Zach Lutz an RBI double. Lutz on third with 2 out. And Tejada with a little pop up in foul ground, and Singleton gets there to make the play. Nicely done by the young first baseman, and that ends the inning. Marlon Byrd's first home run of the spring, his second extra base hit of the day. 3 RBI night for Byrd. 5-0 New York as we go to the 7th. Seventh inning, and Pedro Feliciano on to pitch to Matt Dominguez, who takes it wide for ball 1. Feliciano informed earlier in the week that he will not be on the major league roster on opening day, but opted to stay with the organization rather than declaring free agency, which was his right.
I love Pedro's line. They said they asked him, "What do you think, Pedro?" He said, "I don't know. I've been getting everybody out. Isn't that what I'm supposed to do?"
Well, that's true. He has been getting people out. There's an 83-mile-an-hour fastball, and that's about where he's topped out this spring. Their concern was when they pitched him a second consecutive day that he was throwing 80 miles an hour.
At his best with the Mets, he was around 86, maybe 87, right?
Yeah, he always had the good movement, so he didn't have to throw super hard. He had the hard sink.
But, of course, one of the reasons why you want Feliciano on your team is his ability to go out there every day.
Yeah.
After all,
that's right.
He was perpetual Pedro.
90-plus games this last season.
Valdespin slides over to grab it and throws out Dominguez one away. Now Jonathan Singleton, who made a couple of neat plays with his glove last inning.
You like to see that. A guy who's got the reputation as a hitter first, but also plays good defense. I think we're reading the notes on him. His dad was a quarterback at Oregon?
At Oregon, yeah.
That'll make Danny Barr happy. Part of our crew, Danny Barr.
I'm sure Dan
loves his Ducks.
With his Ducks knowledge, can probably give us chapter and verse on Jonathan's father. But we don't really care that much.
No, really, exactly.
Singleton takes outside. You know, I'm thinking about Singleton, who, of course, was drafted by the Phillies, and thinking about the spring that Dominic Brown is having for the Phils. All of a sudden, Brown is looking like the star that he was always supposed to be, and you wonder whether he can do that this season when the bell rings, because so far it's been a pretty frustrating career for Dom.
Well, I think there's lots of stories of guys, and I know that you've liked Dominic Brown, Keith. Lots of stories of guys that get stops and starts, and it kind of hurts their progress, you know. And I think that's what happened to Dominic.
But I think also, you know, the Phillies were so focused on win now, they couldn't have the patience that another organization might have had. I think of greater import to the Phils right now is whether Chase Utley can be Chase Utley again. And whether Roy Halladay can be Roy Halladay again.
Well, Halladay's velocity is down. We talked about Wainwright's velocity being down 4 or 5 miles an hour, but I think it's different with Halladay because all of his pitches come off that good sinking fastball.
Strike three called, so there's Feliciano dialing it up to 86 miles an hour. That's the hardest pitch he's thrown all spring.
It's almost like he's pitching with anger, right? Oh, you don't think I can throw hard enough? Here you go. Here's 86. Take that.
Can they change their minds?
They did it before with he and Darren Oliver, didn't they?
That's right. That was in 06. Feliciano was supposed to make the team, and they made a change at the last moment, and Darren Oliver had gone home to L.A. He was going to retire. That's 7 years ago, and he's still pitching.
Still pitching.
This is George Springer, who's walked and flied out, and he hits one off the end of the bat. So a strong inning for Feliciano, and Springer really moves down the line, but Valdespin throws him out. Feliciano gets him 1-2-3. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Toyota. Buy a Toyota right now and save big. To learn more, visit Toyota.com. By Geico. By WB Mason for amazingly low prices on office supplies. Who but WB Mason? And by Xerox, ready for real business. Changes for the Astros. Delino DeShields Jr. is playing second base. Raul Torres at third, and Hector Ambriz is the new Houston pitcher.
He pitched in 18 games for the Astros last year.
UCLA product, and Valdespin fouls one off. Jordani's 2 for 3 tonight. Scored 2 runs.
Fills that score sheet, doesn't he? Valdespin gets his knocks, scores some runs.
Let me put it this way: when he's in the game, you always know he's in the game.
Yeah.
Whether it's at the plate or in the field, he's one of those players who draws a lot of eyes to himself.
Even when he strikes out, he has one of the balls go between his legs. I mean, just something always follows him.
Here are the numbers on Ambriz, who was originally drafted by Arizona, but moved around to the Indians and then was released by Cleveland last year and signed by Houston. And Valdespin out on strikes for the second time. That's the first out here in the bottom of the 7th. Earlier tonight, Justin Turner left the game with a strained calf and talked to the writers after the game.
Just cramped up. In the top of the second inning, I don't remember who was hit a ground ball down the third base line that was foul, and when I took my first step, kind of felt it knot up a little bit, and then came up to hit in the next inning and hit the ground ball. When I was going down the line, it just cramped up on me. So got out of there and got some treatment on it and see how it feels tomorrow.
So we'll see. Certainly it would change the Mets infield plans if Turner is not available.
And it's been an interesting spring, right? When you look at what was the problem coming in, the outfield. So the infield was fine. You had that all set, but you had injuries. The starting pitching was going to be one of the strengths. You had injuries. On the outfield, Bird keeps hitting home runs. Cowgill's had a nice spring. Dude has gotten hot.
Terry Collins said yesterday, he said, when you go into spring training, you say, these are the guys we can't get hurt. And he was thinking of Wright, Murphy, Santana, Francisco. Said they're all hurt. Cowgill behind in the count 1-2. But the good news is it does look as though the path is brightening for Wright and Murphy to be ready by opening day. And certainly after yesterday, when Hefner got hit in the elbow and Markham had the neck problem, it's looking as though both those guys will be able to pitch in the first week of the season. So those aspects look brighter than they did 24 hours ago. Cowgill goes down on strikes, so Ambriz with back-to-back strikeouts to begin his stint here in the bottom of the 7th.
This young man has a good arm.
Sliders away and came in with the hard sinker in to get him.
So 2 out and nobody on for Ike Davis, who's 1 for 3 on the day. Had a single back in the first.
There we go. And we got the shift again, and the outfield the opposite direction.
Right fielder is playing in the right center field gap. Any ball pulled by Ike, and he's got a triple.
Yeah, this time the right field is a little further over to the gap. Last time they left more of that gap, with that center fielder way over in left center. It's a little oddball, but such is the nature of the way defenses are constructed these days. So much more information being piped in about where balls are hit and where they're hit on the ground and where they're hit in the air and against what kind of pitching.
You know, Joe Madden, the Tampa Bay Rays, I'm talking to them. They're the only staff, though, that I've heard that pitches to their shift. When they get in trouble, they have a left-handed pull hitter up. They'll let him pull on the ground. Try to get something down and make him pull.
Well, to me, if you're not pitching to the shift, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Exactly.
But if you're going to pitch away from the shift and get a guy to hit it the other way, Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
I would love to see their hitting charts on Ike. It just, you know, he doesn't hit the ball on the ground to left field, but he hits fly balls to left field.
Yeah,
look what the left fielder is. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's true with a lot of left-hand hitters, though, and you see more and more teams doing it. Not as stark in the outfield as what we see here.
Yeah.
He pulls this one into right field where nobody's playing, and that'll go back to the wall. And Ike pulls it at second base with a 2-out double. Well, that was the part of it that didn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you cover the right field line against Ike Davis?
We've seen Ike a lot, and I'd have to gap him and, you know, pretty much play him a little bit to pull and gap him in the outfield.
Sorry to interrupt. He threw a breaking ball, a changeup. What are the left-hander going to do with a ball like that? He's going to pull the baseball.
So now Marlon Burke has driven in 3 runs tonight with a double and a home run. Well, maybe it's the full moon. Caused the Astros to play their outfield as they did.
2 full moons, right? So is this the blue moon, or is the first one the blue moon? Then we have 2 full moons.
Blue moon, you left me standing alone.
Gary, you have a nice tenor voice, but, you know, let's not get carried away.
Hey,
not Mel Torme over there, are you?
Here's the way I feel about it. If Jay can tweet, I can say.
Oh, okay, right. I thought we might hear a Dave Clark 5 tune tonight, but not Blue Moon.
Dave Clark is in the building, coaching first base for the Astros. Two-0 to Bird. Scott Atchison is up in the Mets bullpen, getting ready for a stint in the 8th inning. As Hector Ambrose tries to get out of the bottom of the 7th. There's Scott.
2-0 slider here, Keith. Base open, 2 outs. Let's see.
Got a left-hand hitter on deck in Duda.
Thank you.
Oh, slider. Good call.
Did you once pitch or something?
I'm great at guessing. I had absolutely no talent to hit. I wish I did. I was a good guesser.
Did you guess when you hit?
Did I guess when I hit? No. I was looking dead red, and if they threw anything else, I'd miss it. Simple as that. I mean, if you're going to hit at a high level at this game, you got to be able to hit a breaking ball.
Yes.
You know, if you can't hit a breaking ball, you're a 240 hitter.
I would strongly recommend it.
So, who were the pitchers who could hit breaking balls?
No, nobody. I mean, you know, Tim Lawler comes to mind, was a great hitting pitcher.
Don Robinson.
Rick Roden. Those guys are all, you know, they were honestly, Don Robinson used to sit on breaking balls because he'd get a lot of that.
Don Robinson was the best hitting pitcher I ever saw. Right-hander. Lawler was good too.
Three-two to Bird. And he fouls it off.
Hampton was a good hitter, right?
Mike Hampton.
Yeah, fantastic. Right-handed hitter or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Yeah, that's right.
But never hit home runs until he went to Colorado. He was a line drive hitter.
Mike was a great athlete, right? Could run, could do it all.
A great defensive back in high school. He's a tremendous fielder. He perfected that sliding play to the third baseline.
Yeah, and get up and throw it to first.
Of course, he's a little guy. He's only about 5'10". Here's the 3-2. And Bird hits one in the air to right. Santana is there. And that retires the side. We have played 7 in our final spring telecast. Blue Moon indeed. 5-0 Mets. Mets return to Citi Field to open the 2013 season this Monday against the Padres at 1:10 p.m. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit Mets.com now for your opening day tickets. Time for our second Toyota tweet of the game. And we'll do that right after Scott Atchison's first pitch to Jason Jaramillo. And it's from Josh Edgin welcoming his son Turner DeWitt to the world. 7 pounds, 10 ounces, 21 1/4 inches. Jaramillo has a base hit. First time batting left-handed tonight for the switch hitting catcher, and he greets Scott Atchison with a base hit up the middle.
That's a pretty big baby, right? 21 inches.
Have you looked at Josh?
Yeah, he's a big dude. Yeah, you're right.
There are the numbers on Atchison this spring. It's about the same as his numbers last year with the Red Sox when he was healthy.
Yeah. Atchison has played all over. Mariners, Giants, Red Sox. Even played in Japan for the Hanshin Tigers.
Last year he hurt his elbow mid-season. There was some talk about him having it surgically repaired. He turned it down, decided to rehab it, and he came back late in the season, was able to pitch at the end of the year, go into the offseason not as damaged goods, but there's certainly been a question mark about that elbow, and so far so good.
Well, he was used a lot in that first half of the year with up in Boston. Everything just fell apart there. The starting pitching was terrible.
He falls behind on Martinez 3-0.
Atchison, when he was put on the disabled list, replaced in Boston Red Sox uniform by Pedro Beato. Went from the Mets over there to Boston. I think Beato was sent down early, I think, this year.
This is Delano DeShields Jr. at the plate. Of course, Delano DeShields' dad was a terrific second baseman for the Expos, but at this point is more notorious for having been traded for Pedro Martinez. And the funny thing is, and I'm sure you remember this, when the trade was made, as DeShields draws a walk, everybody was saying, how could the Expos do that? How could they trade a star like Delano DeShields for a skinny relief pitcher like Pedro Martinez?
Well, the scouts in Montreal knew what they're doing, I'll tell you that. But at that point, Delano was one of the top second basemen in the game.
Yep.
A real good, I don't want to say turf player, but you know what I'm saying? He had great speed, good defensive player.
Here's Domingo Santana up for the first time, and Atchison gets ahead of him with a fastball. Delano, if I recall correctly, was one of the few major leaguers from the state of Delaware.
That's right. I remember Ian Snell, who pitched for Pittsburgh for a few seasons.
Over Atchison's glove, Valdespin boots it and is unable to get the play at first base. Well, he was thinking about making a tag on Jaramillo, who was already past him, so it went off the heel of his glove and he lost the play at first.
Well, he has the right idea, but when you got a 5-run lead here late in the ball game, you want to make sure of an out.
That was DeShields scooting by him. And a close play at first, but Santana beat it, so it's an error on Valdespin to load the bases with nobody out. So now Carlos Correa, who is 1 for 3 on the night. So Atchison has to pitch himself out of a jam, and he throws a fastball strike to Correa. A single, a walk, and an error, filling him up with nobody out. Late in spring training, every outing matters.
Yeah.
I mean, Atchison probably has the team made, but it's not over till it's over. A little flare to the right side. Valdespin with the shovel, and Tejada no chance to get it out at first. A run comes in. Jaramillo scores, and that's the first Houston run of the night. So they get the first out, forcing Santana. Correa reaches at first base.
Well, little back flip there. Man, a backhand flip to turn 2. Tejada right there just had the runner barreling down. Nice slide to break up the 2.
This is Mark Krause, batting for Trevor Crow. So Kraus bats with first and third and one out. Kraus out of Ohio University, 25 years old. Second round pick by the Diamondbacks back in 09. Kraus hit 20 home runs in the minor leagues last year between AA and AAA. That's what he's done this spring. And he pops it a mile high. Zach Lutz tracking it into foul ground. And there are two out. So Atchison able to pin the runner at third. Now they're two away. And it'll bring up the DH Brandon Laird.
And Atchison would be happy to get out of this inning with just one run.
Well, the Mets will be playing the Padres opening day Monday, and we talked yesterday about the fact that the Padres were missing their best player, Chase Headley. Now it turns out the player who was supposed to replace him at third base, Logan Forsythe, he's hurt also.
Wow.
Forsythe has plantar fasciitis, so that could be a long-term problem. Now the Padres' best prospect, Jed Jerko, who was a minor league third baseman, they moved him to second because, of course, they have Headley. Now they might move back to third.
They've also got a couple of prospects. Casey Kelly, who they got for Adrian Gonzalez, he has undergone Tommy John surgery, and Reimer Liriano, another up-and-coming player, Tommy John surgery. So tough spring for the Padres.
The Shields at third, Correa at first with two out, a two-strike count on Laird. And Atchison just missed. 1-2.
What I like about Atchison so far, it's the first time I've seen him throw in spring. I've seen him pitch with other ball clubs. Is he likes to pitch in, and you don't see that very often from relievers.
He goes after the hitters. That's what I like about him.
And the breaking ball gets away from Buck, goes into the dugout, and in to score comes to Shields with the second run of the inning. It's now 5-2 New York.
Well, with a 1-2 count, you want to throw and bounce that ball in the dirt. And Buck gets in front, but it kind of hits him right on the wrist and bounces away.
Got him on that padding on the glove and kicked out.
So wild pitch brings in a run. Now a runner at second with two out, 2-2 to Laird, and he goes down on the breaking ball to end the inning. The Astros scratch out a couple of runs, helped out by the error and the wild pitch. 5-2 Mets in the eighth. Back situations to the free agents lost and signed. Get a complete breakdown of the Jets offseason up until now on Jets Nation Sunday at 7 only on SNY. New catcher Rene Garcia in for Houston. Mark Krause stays in the game in left field. And the new pitcher for the Astros, left-hander Colt Kane.
You see his numbers last year with Bradenton. What a name, Colt Kane. Big league name.
Bobby Parnell, who will be the closer for the Mets, getting ready to close. This is Dustin Lawley getting an at bat for the Mets over from the minor league camp. Lawley, 23 years old, 19th round pick in 2011 out of the University of West Florida. Played at Savannah last year, hit .261 with 14 home runs. Lawley takes a fastball for a strike, 2-1. John Buck is on deck. Mets with 5 runs and 10 hits. The Astros 2 runs and 3 hits. Kane working quickly, and it's fouled off, 2-2. And Lawley strokes one into right center for a base hit. Santana cuts it off deep. Lawley will try for 2, and he'll make it easily. A stand-up double for Dustin Lawley.
Well, nicely done. Nice level swing on that pitch there on the belt-high fastball over the plate. It's run down nicely there.
It's got to be a thrill coming over from the minor league camp and playing in a big stadium.
You had a whole, entire practicing game this afternoon, right? This afternoon. Then sitting around having the big league grub that they have downstairs before the game. And then waiting your turn.
Here's Buck, who's 2 for 3, and he takes a fastball strike.
I remember in minor leagues, we'd stay all up and down St. Pete on 4th Street.
Yeah.
Which is the main drag into downtown. All those motels up around 50, 60 blocks. We'd always, because we were minor leaguers, be able to go and watch it. For the night game, we'd go watch the night game. And we'd be able to get in and watch the games. Take the bus down, the city bus down to the downtown St. Pete. And it was a thrill just going and watching a big league game.
And that's what you aspired to be someday. Right. Now, we're 66th Street, right? Was that where the practice facility was? Something like that. Right?
It was out there.
Yeah, it was.
So odd because just about every team now has their minor league complex right next to their major league facility, but it wasn't that way in St. Pete.
And the Mets, of course, shared Al Lang with the Cardinals for years.
What was strange is that all the Mets and Cardinal players who, if you didn't have a family and needed a house or an apartment, all stayed at the same hotel. So you got to know a lot of the St. Louis Cardinals players.
That Hilton right across the street, right?
Yeah.
On the right field line. Right across. Yep.
Now, if you're sharing spring training facilities and getting to know these guys, it's hard to get a hate up for them when you play them, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you got to know the guys. I'm trying to think of, they had a big right-hander, Danny, his last name. He was kind of a sinker ball pitcher. I became friends with him. He was a good guy. George Thorogood would always come and play in the hotel bar there because he liked both teams. Him and his Delaware Destroyers.
And Buck has his 3rd hit of the game. Lawley goes to 3rd and is held there. So a good night at the plate for John Buck, who's hitting over 300 this spring. Geico Sports Night, the only show that's only New York sports. Tonight, Jim Boeheim gets ready for Syracuse's date with Indiana. The Knicks look to stay hot in the heat, try and keep that incredible streak going. Geico Sports Night tonight starting at 10:30 only on SNY. So the Mets have runners at the corners and nobody out. Zach Lutz up for the 3rd time. He's 2 for 2 after taking over for the injured Justin Turner, who went down with a strained calf in the 3rd inning. 22-year-old Colt Kane misses high.
Sorry about my memory. Danny Cox.
Yeah,
Danny Cox.
It was their number two starter.
He was a great guy.
Well, actually, they had Andahar, Tudor, and then Cox. So it was a pretty good 1-2-3. Cox won 18 games that one year.
He was a perfect pitcher. Through sinkers, let the defense play.
Well, he had the good slider too, and a good change.
Shallow right field. Santana comes in to grab it, not deep enough for Longley to try to score, and that's the first out of the inning. And now Alonzo Harris will get a turn at bat for the Mets. Another minor leaguer brought over from the other side of camp. First and third and one out. Harris takes low and in. Alonzo Harris from Macomb, Mississippi.
Oh.
Played last year here in St. Lucie. Hit .287, 8 home runs, 40 stolen bases. Takes a big rip, and it's 1-1.
Keith, the thing I remember most about Al Lang Field is they had the guy who sold concessions or sold drinks in the stands, and he had a beautiful baritone voice. He would sing the entire game.
I like that St. Pete. I really loved it over there.
He used to stay with Lynchy on Sunset Beach.
Sunset Beach was nice. I had a condo out in Indian Rocks Beach, closer to Clearwater.
You were near the wine cellar.
Yes, very good one.
And the lobster
pot, very good. That's lobster pots no more.
Well, we can't remember that stuff. We should just quit. That'll be the time.
It's been a long time.
Right.
It's 26 years since the last spring training at St. Pete. As Harris goes down on strikes, and that's the second out of the inning.
And the other place, Gary, you'd love this, is where we used to go, and Ed Lynch used to call it by this name. Because you could go and get a decent piece of fish. It wasn't expensive. And it was really the start of the Bennigan's chain.
Yes.
Bennigan's. And Ed Lynch used to always go, Ben, again? That's how we called it. Because we're always there.
What was the little lunch place that almost went downtown, right near still Stingle Huggins?
That's right.
The little you get a sandwich
shop. Yeah, I forget that name. Oh well.
We're boring the folks.
Sorry, guys.
We're boring them.
I don't think you're boring, though. I just think you're talking about places that they don't know. I think there was probably a lot more local color then. Here in St. Lucie, you have more of a, a Chili's and Outback kind of thing going on.
There was also, I'll bring up one more restaurant out by the mall that had the great stone crab claws. Remember?
That's right.
And had all the Baltimore Oriole pictures up there on the wall. He was an Oriole fan, the guy.
I remember Dwight, his big thing was he used to go downtown to St. Pete, and it was 50 chicken wings. And he used to be able to eat them.
He is an unbelievable eater.
He could eat.
There's Tejada taking high. Doc's favorite restaurant with Ron's of Japan.
That's right.
In Chicago. And he would eat 3 dinners by himself.
That's right.
Tell that hibachi chef to just keep it coming. And Tejada flares one foul.
I noticed on the schedule, Gary, we're going to play the Cubs this year at Wrigley. It's the first time in 3 years we got all-day games.
We also have a trip to Chicago to play the White Sox.
And you have a day off on that trip.
I don't have the White Sox.
Yeah, I have that one.
I think you have.
Yep.
In fact, I think we play the White Sox home and home, right? Play a couple at Citi Field and a couple in Chicago.
So you'll be able to go to Joe's Stone Crab in Chicago, Gibson's,
I'll be there. I'll be parked right there at that game, I guarantee you.
Frog Bar?
I'll have a
day game, I'll have a little. It's a long day at the ballpark.
You talk yourself into whatever you want to talk yourself into.
You have to have a beefeater or martini.
3-2 with 2 down. Buckle run, and Tejada takes ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Ruppin's on base for the first time tonight. And that will get Josh Rodriguez to the plate.
I know it's been a struggle here for Colt Kane, but he reminds me a little his approach and the way he throws the plate. Reminds me a little bit of John Lester for the Red Sox. Same kind of motion.
So Rodriguez bats with the bases loaded and 2 out. Josh Rodriguez, who had a little time with the Pirates 2 years ago in the big leagues. And he takes a fastball for a strike. 26 years old, out of Rice University. Big cut of the fastball, 0-2. Rodriguez at 265 at Buffalo for the Mets last year. Mets, of course, will have their AAA team in Las Vegas this year. It's a little different than going to Buffalo. So you take bowling and wings out of your off-day repertoire, and you add just about anything else.
I think the most difficult part is everything else. 24 hours.
Right. It certainly provides great temptations that you'd like your players to substantially avoid.
I talked to Roger McDowell, of course, the ex-Met pitching coach for the Braves, and he was a pitching coach in Vegas for the whole summer. And he said the only time he would go to the casino was for the shows. And I asked him, boy, really? And he goes, I wasn't making that much as a pitching coach.
I'll tell you what, you got to stay away from those tables. The shows are fun, actually.
2-2 to Rodriguez. And he fouls it back.
On the old strip. I have not been to Vegas, the new Vegas. The old strip. You could go around, and I was 19, 20 years old, and you can find $1 table.
Yeah. Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. And actually, I saw a burlesque show that was just off. It was a circus. It was like one of the best shows I ever saw. It was in the Frontier.
Was it modeled after the French shows, maybe the Parisian shows?
It was just really a good, like almost like a circus. It was a terrific show. I'll never forget it. I didn't expect it.
Runners will be going. 3-2 coming to Rodriguez, and all 4 forces in a run. So Lawley comes in to score. Back-to-back 2-out walks issued by Colt Kane, and it's 6-2 New York.
Well, Colt, come on, you got those strikes here.
Well, it's fitting, isn't it, that the Astros should have a pitcher named Colt?
Colt Kane, right?
Of course, they began life as the Houston Colt 45s back in 1962. I think they changed their name in '64, the year before they moved into the Astrodome.
Well, I mean, Doug Brocail is going to come out to speak to Colt Kane. I mean, for people that are young out there, it was just wild and crazy about how you felt about the astronauts and space program and how, just everyone was pulling for NASA at that time.
Of course, the Astrodome was dubbed the 8th wonder of the world.
That's right.
It was the first indoor stadium, and they actually tried to grow grass there first, and of course the grass all died. Because what they had was the clear roof. Right?
No one could see.
No one could see, so they paint the roof, and then the grass died.
Right. So it was.
That's why
they. Not good.
That's how they first installed AstroTurf.
It was a good place to pitch, I'll tell you that. I mean, it just seemed forever in the gaps.
That was 390 in the gap.
I know, and the ball, even though it was inside, the ball just did not travel. Down the lines it would travel, but nowhere
340
else.
down the lines.
Yeah.
And 396 in the gaps, and almost like 420 almost in the center. It was the biggest park in baseball.
Here's Colin Cowgill, and he drives one in the air to center field, chasing Springer back, and he's there to make the catch. And in the inning, Mets tack on a run. We head to the ninth. Bobby Parnell on to close it with the Mets up 6-2. Changes for the Mets as we go to the ninth inning. Eric Campbell is in to play first base. Josh Rodriguez will stay in at second. Alonzo Harris stays in center field. Mike Baxter comes in to play right. And Bobby Parnell on to try and close it. Raul Torres leads off for the Astros. And strike one to Torres, who's up for the first time.
Well, nice spring training for Bobby Parnell. See the numbers. As he's going to be the closer starting April 1st.
I talked to Bobby the other day, and he said it just makes a huge difference to him just knowing from day one that the job belongs to him. That there's no ambiguity about it. There's no confusion. There's no trying to figure out where he's going to be pitching. He knows that the ninth inning is going to be his, and he thinks he's ready.
A lot like Nice, his development. A little, ouch.
That hit the bat? No, it hit the knob of the bat.
Yes, it did. And seeing Parnell's progress, Isringhausen, Jason Isringhausen giving him the knuckle curve changed everything around, and he just seems more confident in this spring.
I think Izzy had more of an impact than just the knuckle curve. I think that Jason Isringhausen has a lot to do with Parnell developing the right mindset as he uses the curveball to strike out Torres for the first time.
I totally agree, Gary. They just, sometimes you just hit it off with a veteran. You speak the same language. There's the knuckle curve you were talking about, Keith. And, bravo to Jason for sharing the knowledge that he had of, all those saves and being in those tough moments and kind of relaying that to Bobby.
Now Jonathan Singleton is 0 for 3. Grounded out, popped up, struck out. John Nice went 4 1/3 tonight in his last spring training tune-up, getting ready for opening day on Monday. Nice allowed no runs, 2 hits, struck out 7. Scott Rice looked terrific for an inning and 2/3. No runs, no hits. Pedro Feliciano worked a 1-2-3 inning. Scott Atchison, victimized by an error, gave up a couple of runs, and now Parnell trying to close it out. And a fastball for a strike to Singleton. That's 0-2. Check the count, 1-1 to Singleton.
interesting pitch, wasn't it? I don't know what that was. 89, 90 miles an hour.
Well, he's been working on a two-seamer.
And maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
He dials it up when he comes inside now. He's learned. Oh, I buy it.
Like that. Back-to-back strikeouts for Parnell. 2 down in the ninth.
Well, see ya.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the day is Pat Cauley of Glendale. Contact Pat's office at patcauley.com. By Citi. Citi is offering card members the opportunity to enjoy VIP experiences at select Mets games at Citi Field in 2013. Visit CitiPrivatePass.com to learn more. George Springer up for the 4th time. Walked, flied out, grounded out 0 for 2. Mets baseball on SNY also brought to you by your tri-state area Volkswagen dealers. Visit VWDealer.com and by Time Warner Cable. Time Warner Cable lets you enjoy sports better with the most sports on any screen in any room of the house. Springer fouls back again. The Astros are down to their last strike. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed spring training in 2013. This is our last spring training telecast.
By the way, it's already spring. Together. 8.
And they said it wouldn't last.
That's right. I got a little itch last year.
Tom Ewell? Yeah. 1-2. In the dirt. 2-2 to Springer. Well, the Mets still have 3 spring training games left, and Terry Collins will hope that nobody else gets hurt between now and opening day, and a lot of decisions to be made, roster spots to be set, lineups to be configured. And hopefully David Wright and Daniel Murphy are ready to go on opening day. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Parnell closes the night by striking out the side. 14 strikeouts for Met pitchers tonight, and he started it with 7. And Parnell finishes it with 3 of his own as the Mets beat the Astros 6-2.
Well, a couple of good performances offensively. Valdez-Bean shines again. 2 runs, 2 hits. Lucas Duda only had 1 hit, but I thought swung the bat terrific. Marlon Byrd, first home run of spring. He had 2 hits. Ike Davis had 2 hits. So a good night all the way around for the Metsies offensively.
And I think you couldn't have had a better tune-up and a better spring training for Jonathan Neese, who will be the opening day starter.
So the Mets defeat the Astros 6-2 in our final spring telecast. We will rejoin you from Citi Field on opening day. Our coverage begins right here on SNY at 11:30 a.m. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen in Port St. Lucie. We'll see you in Flushing on Monday for opening day in New York.